The year is 1095, a pivotal moment in medieval history. Pope Urban II issues a call that will echo through history, a call that will mobilize thousands across Europe. He urges Christian Europe to take up arms and reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim rule, promising spiritual rewards and eternal glory. This is the beginning of the Crusades, a series of religious wars spanning centuries marked by both fervent faith and brutal conflict. The Byzantine Empire, the eastern bastion of Christianity, is crumbling under pressure from the Seljuk Turks, who have been expanding their territory. The Turks, recent converts to Islam, have conquered vast swathes of the Byzantine Empire, threatening Constantinople itself, the heart of Eastern Christianity. The Holy Land, where Jesus lived and died, is under Muslim control, a situation that many Christians find intolerable. For the people of medieval Europe, deeply devout and steeped in religious fervor, the Pope's call is a divine command, a mission from God. Jerusalem, the holiest city in Christendom, must be liberated, and the faithful are ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. Thus begins one of the most complex and bloody chapters in human history, a saga of faith, ambition, and conflict that will shape the medieval world. To understand the Crusades, we must step back into the medieval mindset, a time when the world was vastly different from today. For the average European peasant, life was short, brutal, and dominated by the Church. The Church was the center of their universe, dictating not only spiritual matters, but also daily routines and social norms. Religion was not just a belief, it was an all-encompassing force shaping every aspect of life and death. The clergy held immense power, and religious ceremonies marked every significant event from birth to death. Jerusalem held immense religious significance. It was a city revered by Christians, Jews and Muslims alike, making it a focal point of religious devotion and conflict. It was the site of Christ's crucifixion and resurrection, a physical link to their Savior. Pilgrims traveled from far and wide to walk the same paths as Jesus. To reclaim Jerusalem was to serve God directly, to participate in a cosmic battle between good and evil. Knights and soldiers saw it as their divine duty to take up arms. The Pope promised forgiveness of sins for those who took up the cross. This divine assurance was a powerful incentive, offering spiritual rewards that transcended earthly life. This was a powerful motivator in a time when the fear of hellfire was very real. The vivid depictions of hell in sermons and artwork instilled a deep fear of eternal damnation. For many, the Crusades were a chance to secure their place in heaven through acts of piety and martial valor. They believed that by fighting for the Holy Land, they were ensuring their eternal salvation. The Crusades were not simply a clash of armies, they were marked by horrific violence and brutality inflicted upon civilians. The Crusaders, fueled by religious zeal and often driven by greed, left a trail of blood across the Holy Land. The sacking of Jerusalem in 1099 during the First Crusade stands as a chilling example. The Crusaders, having breached the city walls, unleashed a massacre upon the inhabitants. Muslims, Jews, even Christians who resisted were slaughtered indiscriminately. The Crusades saw countless acts of barbarity committed in the name of God. From the massacre at Marrakesh to the Children's Crusade, where thousands of children perished, the Crusades stand as a stark reminder of the dangers of religious fanaticism. Section 4. Voices from the Past. Differing views on a brutal era. The Crusades were a complex and multifaceted event, viewed differently by those who lived through them. For some it was a holy mission, a divine calling to reclaim sacred lands. For others it was a time of great suffering and turmoil. Emperor Alexios I Komnenos of Byzantium, who requested aid from the West, was horrified by the Crusaders' behavior. His initial hope for a united front against common enemies quickly turned into disillusionment. He saw them as a barbaric rabble, more interested in looting than fighting for a higher cause. The Crusaders' actions often undermined the very alliances they sought to build. From the Muslim perspective, figures like Saladin, the Kurdish sultan who recaptured Jerusalem, emerged as heroes resisting invasion. His leadership and strategic acumen were celebrated across the Muslim world. Saladin, known for his chivalry, offered clemency to defeated Christians, a stark contrast to the Crusaders' earlier actions. His reputation for fairness and mercy became legendary. Even within the Crusader ranks, there were voices of dissent. Not all crusaders agreed with the violent methods employed, and some sought more peaceful resolutions. Peter the Hermit, who led a disastrous people's crusade, later preached against the violence he had witnessed. His change of heart reflected the growing disillusionment among many who had initially supported the Crusades. Section 5. Scars on History: The Enduring Legacy of the Crusades. The Crusades ultimately failed to achieve their primary objective. The Holy Land remained under Muslim control, and the various Crusader states established in the Levant eventually crumbled. However, the impact of the Crusades extended far beyond the battlefield. They reshaped the political landscape of Europe and the Middle East, contributing to the decline of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of powerful Muslim states. The Crusades also left a bitter legacy of religious intolerance and violence. The memory of these conflicts continues to influence relations between the West and the Islamic world to this day. Section 6. Beyond the Battlefield: The Crusades' Cultural Impact. While the Crusades were primarily military campaigns, they also had a profound cultural impact on both Europe and the Middle East. The Crusades exposed Europeans to the rich culture and advanced learning of the Islamic world. They brought back new ideas, technologies, and goods, contributing to the Renaissance that would blossom in later centuries. The interaction, though often violent, fostered significant cultural exchange. Arabic numerals, advancements in mathematics and astronomy, and even new foods like sugar and exotic spices made their way into Europe through the Crusader states. Section 7. A question of legacy: Were the Crusades justified? The Crusades remain one of the most debated periods in history. Were they a righteous defense of